This episode of the Great Lakes Outdoors podcast is brought to you by
Migrate Ammunition, GK Calls, Gibraltar Boatyard, Point Malay Waterfowl Festival, Gibraltar Duck Hunters Association, Turtle Box. We'd like to give a special thanks to Brian Ellithorpe. Give him a follow on all social media.
We appreciate all the support. Now let's get to the show. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Great Lakes Outdoors podcast. Me and Chris are sitting here with a very special guest. A guest that's been sealing all of our beer so far, I'll tell you that much.
He might have been.
Yes, but John from Purely MI Spearfishing. John, how you doing, man?
Excellent. And thank you for the beer. I was not stealing it. I want to make that perfectly clear. It was all handed to me.
That is true. That is true.
We're good hosts.
And I'm very appreciative of it. Thank you for the beers.
Thank you for being here, man. I even though I talked to you 2 years ago.
Yep.
I apologize. It's been this long.
Let me clarify that. I reached out to them and I was like, I want to be on your podcast, and they ignored me for 2 years, and here I am.
We hit a rough patch there, man. We hit a rough patch. It was,
and it's okay. I hold nothing against you. You guys get free beer and good company, and that's all.
That's all that matters. That's all that matters. You kind of want to give the people an introduction on who John is. I mean, you I would say, have one of the most unique things going on for yourself. Honestly, in Michigan, really, like one of the most out of pocket kind of thing. I mean, you want to just kind of explain what you do and who you are?
Yeah. So the John. Name Purely MI Spearfish, Purely Michigan Spearfishing is something I kind of coined basically back in 2019, and I started underwater spearfishing. Underwater spearfishing is the pursuit of harvesting or killing fish with a spear gun or a rubber propelled spear underneath the surface of the water, essentially in Michigan in the Great Lakes. And I started doing that, and I thought, essentially that it was a fantastic method of harvest.
Right.
For the region, at least, I would say, because Great Lakes, the Great Lakes states has the most freshwater coastline in the northern hemisphere.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And what better place to, have a community based around, diving.
No, were you the
harvesting fish?
First one to kind of really do it around here?
I wouldn't say I'm the first one. I just, for whatever reason, I was the first one to get traction.
Okay.
With the DNR, the Department of Natural Resources, and the Natural Resource Commission. But I was by far not the first person to ever do it. So
was it hard for you to kind of get, I guess, let's backtrack. What made you get involved with the spearfishing to start off with? Okay,
yeah. So I went to high school, and I was a swimmer. And I got my lifeguard certification in high school, and between 2006 and 2009. And I was also a water safety instructor for our elementary school. Mm-hmm. And after high school, I did the same thing. I just continued down that road. And so water was a very natural place for me. And over the course of I graduated in 2009. Between 2010 and 2018, I had. I've always been a hunter, fisher,
want to stay in the
angler,
water,
whatever. And I've always been just outdoors based. And when the opportunity came to dive underneath the surface of the water, I always took advantage of it. And little did I know that you could actually harvest fish via that method. When I found out I could, and I did it, and I was like, wait, this is to me, it was a huge missed opportunity. And that's when I was like, let me just try.
No-brainer.
It wasn't a no-brainer, but it was just like, why not?
Yeah, I could definitely see that for sure. I mean, you were the first one I've ever heard of spearfishing in our area.
And like I said, I wasn't the first to ever do it. But
from what I've heard.
But I was the first one. I took a GoPro, and I was like, well, let me at least demonstrate what the experience is like, and just showing you guys the video of 100 walleye swimming around you in a school.
It's crazy.
It's very cool, but I'd like to make the same point. It doesn't do anything different because I'm restricted by the same bag and size limits as everybody else.
Right.
And it's so as long as it's not, because I've always said this, I don't want to do anything that damages or hurts or harms the resource in any form or fashion. And I don't believe that underwater spearfishing is that method.
You want to be ethical at the same.
I want, and that's why I went to the department, because I
Right.
want, if I wanted to be a piece of shit and just shoot any fish I wanted to, I could shoot sturgeon and muskie and anything I wanted to if I wanted,
right.
if I wanted to, but I don't want to. I want to do it legally. I want to do it properly, and I want to have a method that, it coexists with our hook and line anglers, and I
Right.
wanted to do it in a manner that is sustainable, and I believe that it can be done, and that's why I brought it to the NRC and the DNR and said, hey, regulate us, take a look at this, get some data, get some studies, do your thing. That is the department, that we, collect data, we understand what a method of take does and why it should exist or shouldn't exist, and base decisions, from that data and, that scientific background, if you will.
Getting into spearfishing, there had to been some like hiccups almost, right? I mean, was there like a mentor for you, like to like really get you? Yeah, you wanted to be in the water, you were a swimmer growing up and stuff like that. But was there a mentor that like you watched on YouTube, or you just went for it?
I would say I generally just went for it. I was like zero. I would say like maybe Daniel Mann, like out of the European Union, but like no, it was very. I just looked up the equipment that I needed.
Really?
You just thought about it and said,
like I said, I can hold my breath and swim underneath the water and swim in the water. Zero inspiration for that. That was a part of me as it was. So to me, like when people reach out to me and they say, "Oh, what do I need to do X, Y, Z?" I'm like, "You're asking too many questions already. Just get your ass in the water."
Simple.
And then you say, "Okay, my hands and my feet and my body froze. What do I need? I need a wetsuit. Okay, get that. Okay, what's next? I need a diver down flag with a float and a line. Okay." And like before you know it, you're doing it. Like you said, it's like it takes a month or two before you learn all the gear. But to me, I've always just been a dive in kind of guy. Like I say it, but it's dive in. Just don't ever put yourself at risk. Which
safety
I don't
first.
walk into traffic.
Right.
And water's the same way. You don't walk into traffic. But there's a lot of crazy, I don't want to say disrespectful, but just uneducated boaters on the water, and stay away from highly populated areas as a general rule, because I can only account for my actions, and especially like jet skiers and uneducated boaters, and especially around holidays when you have drunk boaters on the water. You're the one at risk, not them. They can hit you and drive off and never be seen again. And there's no cameras on the water. There's nothing like that. Like enforcement on the waters is generally pretty terrible. So, protect yourself. Stay away from the people who are dangerous to you. And that's if you're going to dive in, that's the biggest takeaway is protect yourself.
I mean, that should be rule number one on whatever you do, right? I mean, you just make sure you're not going to put yourself in harm's way and not put yourself in a do or die situation, right? At the end of the day, I mean.
And I don't feel like anybody would do that, generally speaking. Like
no.
Most people are scared enough of the water, let alone the boaters.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm not going to go jump into, the middle of the Ludington Channel in prime salmon season and be like, oh my God, these guys are all trying to run me over. I'm like, no, you're in their way.
You're just being stupid with what you're doing. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, and that's just, and I feel like anybody who jumps in the water has enough common sense to know that. Hopefully.
I was gonna say you
almost
would
have to though.
Yeah.
For sure.
Do that.
For sure. Was there any like big like hurdles that you had to go like get around, or like trying to, I guess, see what the laws were when you first started getting into it? Like, I mean, nobody's really doing it around our area. You're kind of just jumping into this. I mean, was there any?
No, not really. The regulations were pretty straightforward. It was like open all year, all bodies of water that aren't designated trout streams or trout lakes. And the only real restriction was that you couldn't the line that attached your spear had to be like 20 feet or less. So the spear, that was like the only real caveat. And that was one of the reasons I went to the department in the NRC and said, hey guys, we have all this fresh water. We don't have any regulations on placement of diver down flags so that they can't restrict boater navigation to access points, egress points around swimming areas and things like that. And I was like, we have zero laws around that. We don't have any regulations around like power intake tubes or a lot of different things that just seem common sense. Like you can't place a diver down flag where it restricts boater navigation. Just like a lot of states had these regulations and we didn't. Mm-hmm. Like nighttime diving, you could use scuba tanks. All of this was perfectly acceptable.
Wait, you could night dive here with scuba tanks?
You could.
Okay.
And I walked in there and I said, hey guys, like, I think that we are missing an opportunity where table-worthy game fish like walleye, like pike, like lake trout are being missed out on. And I like to, to an extent, try and maintain fair chase, right? What we consider fair chase, right? And I think that any person who wants to jump into the Great Lakes on their own physical ability and their own breath hold and take a spear gun or a pole spear and swim down and try and shoot a walleye or a pike or, some of these fish that they would rather shoot and eat rather than like, say, a drum or a carp or a gar or a bowfin should have that opportunity.
Right.
If I'm not saying like, throwing a, that scuba tank and go down there and do it, but I think that we should at least offer an opportunity to kill a fish that you want to eat, because at the end of the day, killing fish that you're not going to utilize is unsportsmanlike. It's unethical 100%. And it's immoral.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, why is the department encouraging methods of take that aren't directed towards fish that are going to be, generally speaking, consumed? Like, unless it's for a fish that's going to be destructive towards native species, like a carp, like a common carp, right?
Yeah.
Sure, get it out of there. Whatever method doesn't make a difference, right? Like hook and line, bow fishing, spear fishing. But spear fishing, to me, shouldn't be isolated to just kill and dispose of. To me, that's a mistake. And that's why I went to the NRC and I said, hey, I think we're missing an opportunity. Yes, it can be utilized as a method for, ultimately removing problem species. But to say, hey, go kill a bowfin or a drum, which is a native keystone species in the Great Lakes, for fun, if you're not going to utilize it, that just doesn't make any sense. Right? So go kill a walleye, go kill a pike, go kill something you're going to eat.
Right.
Don't just kill fish for fun. That's the biggest point I can make, is don't kill fish for fun. Kill fish to eat them. Mm-hmm. And a lot of old timers, a lot of the what they call the gray hair or the old guard, right?
Yeah.
They're just if they want to go kill whatever fish, let them have it. But as soon as it comes to killing fish that you could find in a supermarket, like your walleye, like your perch, like your salmon, like your rainbow trout, now all of a sudden they have a problem. And it's that bothers me. Yeah. You can call them trophy fish, but it's just like, consumptive fish.
Right. I mean, could you say that about carp, though? Because, I mean, I feel like a lot of people say it like...
If you look at the East Fish Guide, they are the least recommended fish to ever eat.
Well, I'm just saying the fact that, I mean, there are a lot of people that fish for them to consume, right? I mean...
I don't think so.
No, I mean, I could be wrong. I feel like I see a lot of people that... Yeah, around here, I feel like a lot of people fish for them.
I would say so.
I mean, well, I guess we're in different parts of the state.
Hey, easy.
Hey,
easy.
And this actually brings up a better point. Who are we to determine who should keep and eat what fish?
Very good point.
Right?
Very good point.
If you want to keep a catfish and eat it, you want to keep a white bass and eat it, you want to keep a muskie and eat it, you want to keep a pike and eat it, as long as it's not disproportionately affecting the population to a regard that doesn't make it sustainut who are we to say that it's not, a lot of people eat smallmouth bass, and a lot of you might ask Mark Zona or Kevin Van Dam. They're like, wait, I make a living off of catching those fish and throwing them back. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that
everybody's doing it.
We can't have a
consumable amount or whatever.
Yeah, we can't have a some form of a population of people that can keep and eat them, and without having a good trophy, fishery, right? Like you can go to Traverse Bay and catch 5, 6, 7 pound smallmouth bass, or same thing with walleye, exactly. Yep.
Well, spearfishing in itself, I mean, is that just a regular fishing license?
No. So in 2021, 2021, when I was pitching the regulation proposal to the NRC and the DNR, one of the aspects of that proposal was to create and establish a licensing system that would track participation and effort and harvest. And they created that, and it is an exclusively online license. So you have to go on the DNR website, onto their website, and the e-license is where you will get that license. And with that e-license, you have to report monthly. It's a mandatory requirement that you have to report monthly, and you have to report effort and harvest.
How do you feel about that?
I like it because it provides data points, right? It provides a number of people who are reporting how often they're going and what fish they're getting. The issue mainly is that it's a free license because the Department of Natural Resources has no authority to issue fees on their licenses. So they weren't.
Free license.
It's a free license, and what happens with free licenses? Anybody can get them.
There's no
Exactly.
requirements at all.
It says requirement when you get it. It says, hey, by the way, this license comes with monthly reporting requirements. And we had an issue where about 30% of people who got an underwater spearfishing license never reported once.
You don't have to have your fishing license to have that?
No, you have to get your fishing license.
Okay,
So like, for an example, I would say, like, between March and June is a good example. When the walleye run is happening, when the spring salmon are coming in, the cohos and the kings on the west side, a lot of people are getting their licenses, right?
Yes.
And you go online, you're on the boat, maybe you're at the boat launch for the first time, right? You're from Illinois, Indiana, or whatever. Mm-hmm. You go online, you say, oh, I'm going to get my all species, and then you see a free spearfishing license. It's as simple as checking a box, and it's got an email that you haven't used in 10 years or whatever, right? You don't even have your Gmail account set up or whatever. And so that was a problem, is that a lot of people were getting licenses and they weren't reporting. Like 30% of all license over a 3-year span or 4-year span.
So what do they do to change that?
They just kind of, it was just, it's a question mark, right? It's like, were these people just getting these licenses when they went out fishing because they said, hey, I may go spearfishing?
And never went again.
And never went again. They never report. Who knows, right? And that's the real question, is like, it's an uncertainty. Generally speaking, I think it's kind of expected that not a lot of these people went. They just got it as a free add-on, and they just didn't care about the reporting requirements. But 70% of people did report at least like one trip, which is indicative of like, I went once and I never went again.
Since you started this whole thing, I mean, has there been an uprising in spearfishermen?
Believe it or not, no.
That's crazy.
There have been, according to the Department of Natural Resources, from the reporting data, effort and participation has decreased every year.
Wow. Now you have a couple of organizations that you run, correct?
Yes. One.
Okay.
Michigan Spearfishing Association. And that is the organization behind this regulation.
Now, how is that going per year?
It's going good. Like we range anywhere from like 40 to like 85 members, generally speaking. A year.
I feel like just, I don't know, spearfishing.
And that's who buy a license.
Yes.
Or I'm sorry, not buy a license, rather.
Pay the dues
to be a member.
Yeah.
Correct.
No, and they still have to, just a member. Okay, never mind.
Just a member. Yep. That's as simple as that. They are supporting our regulation efforts, or, supporting the website and everything like that.
So now, do you have like annual meetings, like monthly meetings, or?
I wish we could.
Yeah.
It's way too much work right now. We have, it's a lot of officer positions that need to be filled, and a lot of, just organizational positions need to be filled that not a lot of people want to participate in. And it's unfortunately a very difficult thing because, like I said, a lot of people don't appreciate the amount of work that goes into regulation change in order to support the organization that made that happen, which is literally at this point, it's like 6 people. And it's,
Man, that's so weird. Like spearfishing to me, like it's such a weird area where like I feel like, man, when you first started, there had been so much backlash from it all. Like there had been so many people that are like the cheating aspect of it all. You're diving down there
100%.
and just not a good look on you, even though they don't even understand half of the.
I think one of
whys
the
behind
biggest comparisons is that well, why don't we just legalize snagging? If you're gonna open up spearfishing, why don't you just legalize snagging? And I'll say this, and I think this argument will fall apart anytime you have to put it up against scrutiny. As I'm like, okay, spearfishing, you have to be willing to put yourself in the physical water. First off, secondly, you have to be able to see. You have to have the visibility in the water to identify the fish that you're shooting.
Right.
Then, once again, you are subject to the species, size, bag limits, and seasons, right?
Right.
If you're snagging, right? Let's just say you're at a dam.
You're snagging anything.
And there's a pool, anything that's in the water,
Right.
regardless of size, season, bag limits, doesn't matter where you hook it or anything.
And harming the fish.
You're
at the
actually
end of the day.
harming it.
Right.
Exactly. And I'm like, to me, there's no consideration. I dive in the water. First off, I'm in the water. Boom. Immediately cuts out 90% of people, right? I am intentionally going into the water to kill fish. It's a subsistence method of take. I'm intentionally going in the water to kill a fish. I know that. That's a burden on my shoulder. So I know that if I dive in there, I'm essentially going to kill a fish.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at every fish before I point, shoot, and harvest that fish. So I'm personally responsible for every fish I target. So to me, that's a big method, right? Or that's a big burden
man.
on you, right? So it's like,
100%.
hey, I know I'm doing that. I don't have to touch, handle, or harm any fish unless I want to.
Yes.
I can enjoy
Just
the presence
scenery.
of the fish without harming it. If you throw a snagging hook into a pool of fish, you're just ripping. It could be a sturgeon, it could be a musk, it could be a pike, it could be a muskrat, it could be your 2-year-old daughter. I don't know, right? It could be anything.
It could be anything.
You have zero control where you hit it, and that's where it's like, dude, your snagging argument falls apart because there is no control with snagging. You're just throwing a treble hook in there and you're hoping to hook something. Versus like spearfishing, I'm going down there and I'm doing it with a purpose. And I think this is where
you want to take if you're gonna do it, you want to take a fish lethally.
Yeah, you
100%.
want to kill it, and it's like I perfectly killed it every time.
How hard is it even like the size wise? I feel like that'd be a very difficult thing. At
How do you
first.
do?
Okay, 100% great question, right? If you don't know, let it go. That's our general rule. That being said, anybody who has any experience with any kind of hook and line angling, which I feel like, and this is a good point of debate. If you had to take somebody fishing for the first time, are you going to take them hook and line fishing or are you going to take them spear fishing?
Hook and line.
Hook and line fishing, right?
Right.
So generally, my argument is that most people are going to have an experience with a fish in their hands prior to going spearfishing to some degree. Now, that's not always the case, but it's just like anything. You have to mentor people. You have to get them into it, and you have to say, hey, man, this fish has to be X amount of inches long
Right.
to harvest them. Is it perfect? No. But I feel like anybody who goes into the water,
You're going for the biggest one usually, typically.
could
that
be
you
the biggest
see.
one. It's just the whole point is that the amount of effort they're putting in to going into the water is going to, I believe, ultimately result in the harvest of a fish that's worth taking.
Yeah.
That being said, like I said, if I had a walleye that's 12 inches long,
Right.
and it's where that beer can is, good luck hitting it. You know, the
Yeah.
smaller it gets, the harder it is to
It's
hit.
like perch fishing like that. Like a little tiny perch swimming around there.
So, and a lot of people, oh, what about underside? Like, it's gonna be a
noticeable.
minute. It's gonna be a minute community. It's because we're already small enough as it is.
Yeah.
Right.
And you go on Lake Huron, you have, 250, 300,000 plus fish every year being harvested.
It's crazy.
How many of those fish die as a result of a hooking mortality. More fish than we'll probably ever kill in a year hook or spearfishing. That being said, I'm not saying it's perfect. There's always going to be mistakes. And if you look at hook and line anglers, how many people break the laws?
Yeah.
How many people break the laws when it comes to measurements of fish? Who's more likely to break a law? A person who's guessing at the size of a fish and saying, "Hey, I'm going to go guess on the larger side," or the person who could put them on a board and say, "Oh, it's 15 and an eighth. I'll take them."
Step on them.
They throw them on ice and they shrink a quarter of an inch and now they're illegal.
Yeah.
So like, which one's going to make the bigger impact?
I feel like when it's individual like that, you're more. I don't even know. Like even like in that like environment wise, like you're more keen to like, this is on me. This isn't the whole boat. We're not throwing it in the same like cooler. Like like this is my stringer.
It's almost like deer hunting. I feel like like you want to take, if you're gonna go deer hunting, you want to take that deer lethally, right?
Yeah, you want to put it down one shot.
Yes.
Right. And I'm not like I said, I'm not saying anything's perfect. Obviously, mistakes will be made.
Right.
I just feel like the overall, like I said, the number of people who go spearfishing compared to the hook and line community, it doesn't have any kind of significant impact that is a threat to the fish in the lake. Yes, fish will tear off at some point, for sure.
Right.
Right? A fish will tear off.
Which is crazy. I always wonder that too, not to cut you off.
Yeah.
How can a walleye get off a treble hook, man? That's insane to me. Like,
especially you got to spear through it and everything.
Well, no, I'm just saying treble hook in general.
Oh,
like
yeah.
you're jigging,
No,
right?
They flop, they
That's
swing,
insane
they
to me.
move, they do all their things. Yeah, they got, and
crazy.
their mouths are fairly rigid.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's, I don't know. It's just bizarre to me, man. Like, we lost that one big one the other day, and it's like, how? It's just
What am I
nuts.
going to?
That's okay.
But I think that's a lot of thing, though, too, with, like, spearfishing, where people think that it's just a kill. And they don't realize it's like a deer hunt, like you were saying. Like, there's always a chance where you are missing that fish, right?
Well,
you might have better luck on targeting the bigger females, let's say in the springtime or whatever it may be, if you're going that route, right? But
Well, if you account for water temperature, I'm not diving in 35-degree water.
that
wouldn't-
too.
I wouldn't blame
Or
you, yeah.
39 degree. Like, no. And that I think there is an aspect that does make certain fish more susceptible
Right.
to spearfishing. I'll 100% agree with that.
Yeah, it's visual at that point.
It is. I can literally dive down there and I can swim, and
Right.
if I can get close enough to the fish, I can literally select the fish I want to shoot.
Pet it, take a
100%.
selfie with it, whatever you got to do.
Whatever you want to do, right? I agree. I just don't see where a group of anglers that harvest less than 1,000 fish in 3 years compare to a group of anglers that harvest 750,000 fish in a year or in 3 years. By statistical analysis would say that the 750,000 fish that are harvested via hook and line, we could harvest the 1,000 biggest fish in the lake and it wouldn't make a difference.
Right.
At that point, like in the Detroit River, St. Clair River system, there's about 13 to 15 million walleye that use that system every year.
Yeah.
Do you think the 12 spearfishers that are going down the mouth of the Blue Water Bridge and shoot 60 walleye
Their limit.
Yeah.
are that's gonna be the and we're only doing it when the water's nice enough, like mid-May and up. We're not going out there in March and April when the fish are actually physically spawning.
When you could be literally doing the same thing, jigging and catching the same.
I am
amount of
doing the
fish.
same thing,
Right.
but nobody counts those fish
Yes.
towards my spearfishing limit.
Right.
But that's the whole point. It's like, yeah, there's more luck in catching a big fish on hook and line. Maybe there's a little bit more skill, for sure.
I want to say more luck.
More luck. But if I grabbed 100 anglers out of those same boats that are catching them on hook and line, and I threw them in the water, how many of them would actually be able to dive down 25, 35 feet and
Hold
shoot
their
one of those
breath.
fish?
Yeah.
Probably like
It would. It's and I
one,
think-
two
maybe-
top.
I think
Probably
the
less
number
than 10%, honestly.
and the whole point is that the DNR doesn't regulate the size that you can keep them at. It's 15 and above. That's it.
Now, here's a good question for you. Like, you have everybody talks about these big females throwing back the big 10-pound, 11-pound females, whatever they
100%.
are. What is your opinion on that? I guess let me explain. Like, I feel like if you throw back your, 19-inch females that are just full of eggs, that they can reproduce more fish than your 10, 31-inch walleye that's full of eggs. I mean,
It's a bell curve. Youngest portion of fish here, right? Don't produce.
They don't
produce, right?
Okay.
So the fourth year is when I believe when they become sexually mature.
So I never do that.
So there's the bell curve, right? So there's a population of fish that are under 4 years that don't produce, right?
Okay.
Then at a certain point, they go 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Going back down.
It's the general population of fish that reproduce, right? So it's like young fish don't reproduce. When they hit 4, 5, 6, 7, this is where
It's like their peak.
the majority of the population is that reproduces, right? That's where you get the biggest high, your biggest top of the curve, right? And then it starts to dip low because those 6, 7, 8, 9 pounders are the least. They're the smallest majority of the population that reproduce, right? And so it's like the majority. That's what you need to protect is the majority of the fish that reproduce. And those
So
are
you're talking about those 20-inchers,
5, 6 pound walleye,
right?
Those constitute the majority. And the 10 pounders, now while they can produce 250,000,
Less
300,000 eggs, they just don't constitute enough of the population that is a significant majority. Now this is relating to the Great Lakes region. I'm not talking specifically to inland lakes or anything like, because that can be a totally different conversation.
100%.
Because like one big fish can saturate a small lake.
Yeah.
100%. I'm not going to say that.
I agree.
I'm saying this is specific to the Great Lakes, is that we have tens of millions of fish in the Great Lakes to the extent that I don't think underwater spearfishing will ever have any negative impact. Now, you can say, to an extent, isolated fish populations may be subject to, exorbitant harvest, if you will, right? Because if that fish is sleeping on the bottom, I can swim down and I can shoot them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 every day. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I can go back and back and back and back. Now you're talking about something that wouldn't generally be possible. And I agree with that. And I will never contest that. I just don't feel like that is a significant enough number for it to constitute anything.
What?
And how many fish, and here's the other point, right? Is that how many fish do I need to be satisfied with my spearfishing capabilities?
Right.
I don't need 100 walleye. I give away most of my walleye after a while.
I mean, it kind of comes with like, why couldn't I catch 5 per day if I'm out, hook and line wise compared to like you spearing down there? There's, if you're out there long enough, you might catch them faster, but I can still catch my 5 every single day if I wanted to.
And I think the whole point is that I can go down there, I can swim and look at them, and I don't have to shoot them. And I can clean up the lures, I can clean up the lead anchors, I can clean up the weights, I can clean up the line, I can clean up everything while I'm down there. That's the other aspect I like to try and like point out. Is I'm like, hey, I don't just have to kill fish. I'm also doing, generally speaking, I can do good work when I'm down there. I can clean up, the debris that is associated with hook and line fishing too. I think that helps. Is
there a limited area? Like, can you spearfish in the Detroit River? No, right?
You can, not for the game fish though. That's the difference.
Oh, okay. So you can go for like carp and stuff like that. You can go for
carp or cats, fish or whatever. Yeah,
okay.
But you can't go for walleye.
Why is that?
Those are tribal boundary waters, and there were concerns initially about competition between recreational space. So when we opened it up, the walleye fishermen, that stakeholder group through the St. Clair River, Lake St. Clair, and the Detroit River and Lake Erie were like tens of thousands of anglers that participate in that area. You guys,
it's just a constricted space.
It was a constriction. It was more about competition for species within a body of water, right? Where the concentration of anglers is super high for one specific species, when you introduce a new method, you're disproportionately affecting the larger majority
Makes sense.
with a smaller proportion of people, right? Like if I come in and I disproportionately affect 1,000 anglers because I'm a diver, well, that's not doing the DNR any good, right? Like they're like, we need to protect the majority, right? And so it was like a
tough
hey,
thing to even say
it was
though, too.
It is too.
but it was like a hey, we'll support you going northern on Lake Huron to collect data, to collect,
In St. Clair, right?
no,
Or no?
it's all north of St.
Oh,
Clair.
okay,
So
okay.
Blue Water, basically Fort Gratiot Lighthouse, which is above the Blue Water Bridge, everything north of there up to Alpena
Gotcha.
is open.
Okay.
So it's Saginaw Bay, like a huge walleye fishery, right? They were like, hey, we'll support you, but we just want to see some data that says you guys aren't fucking everything up.
Yeah.
You aren't, disproportionately affecting a community that's already there. And that's what we've done is we've shown up to these areas and we've been able to participate in a manner that hasn't disproportionately in any form or fashion affected the population or the fishing community that's already established there.
Do you think that's kind of like weird though that they would even like consider you guys harming population, but then allowing you to go at the same time? Like they got.
I mean, with anything, there's always going to be risk. Is that what you mean?
I mean, I guess. I mean, they already have somewhat of a concern that you guys are down there spearfishing compared to just hook and line, right? They're already saying that to you, like, we want to make sure that you guys aren't like spearing too many walleye to mess up the population. It's just kind of weird to me, like that they would.
I wouldn't
It's
say
kind
they
of
did
weird,
that.
but it's like also like they don't know the data behind it.
Yeah.
Go
Go ahead. You're right on the.
they
exact
don't know the
path.
data,
Yeah.
so it's
They're
like,
hey, we don't know anything about this.
it's almost
method. We
trial
don't
and
know
error
how
at
many
this point.
people are doing this.
Hmm.
We want to know generally, just like general, and that's why they were willing to give us an opportunity. They said, hey, what does it look like? How many people are doing it? When are they doing it? Where are they going? How many fish are they killing? And that was exactly what they wanted to know. And then,
But then it doesn't help you out that half of the people aren't even writing data back on their
30%.
license.
No, I would disagree. Most people
Do
did it. The people
Okay.
who are doing it report it, and they did a good job.
gotcha.
And they said, and the DNR, they gave it straight out. They were like, on average, 187 people reported killing at least one fish a year. And when I came to the Department of Natural Resources and I came to the Natural Resource Commission, I said, hey, on average, there's about 150 to 200 people who are doing this with any kind of consistency. And I think that data 100% reflects exactly the actual spearfishing community that's actually out there and is going to do this. Now, are we going to eventually rise, or grow? Sure, 100%.
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully,
100%.
that's the goal, right?
Exactly. But in that same time frame, we never affected a single other angler. No one called the DNR and said, hey, these damn spear fishermen are out here screwing up our spots. We can't fish now because they're swimming right. And that never happened.
That was my next question. Like, if you think like if spearfishing grows, you think it would affect anything, any population or anything like that?
If it grows in a negative manner, 100%. Yeah.
You think so?
If you get inconsiderate people diving on piers where salmon fish are, like salmon anglers are.
Yeah.
Sure, 100%. Like, if you got 20 people on a pier head casting for king salmon coming into the harbors, and then all of a sudden 3 or 4 or 5, 6, 10 anglers, spearfishing anglers come out there and they're just middle finger in the air swimming past. Yeah, that could 100%. But I tell you what, who's at risk when those big old spoons are flying?
100%. Yeah.
And that to me, once again, goes back to that same kind of point: self-preservation over catching fish. That being said, 100% could be problematic anglers. There always could be problematic anglers, and boaters can come up and troll really close to those same pier heads, and people can jig in those same pier heads and create issues for people trying to cast in the middle of the channel.
Yeah.
Fisherman etiquette has always been precedent, and I don't think that that's going to change anything in any any massive dynamic for underwater spearfishing.
Yeah.
And just like it didn't increase in any skyrocketing manner when they legalized walleye in lake trout and pike. Like, there was no 10,000 people all of a sudden were going spearfishing.
Yeah.
That didn't happen.
Now you say fishing etiquette and whatnot. Do you find more people being etiquette to you when you spearfish or less? Because I'm
When you
sure
say
that
etiquette. Describe what you mean by that. By that.
I would
Do you
say
mean
more
boaters
so
or you mean
like
fishermen?
people like fishermen. Say you're out there. Do you see more fishermen saying, "Okay, I'm cool with that" when you're out there, or people like,
That's a
"Oh,
good
screw
question.
that guy"?
It's mixed. It's a 50-50, I would say. I think some people are very intrigued and want to learn, and then other people are like, I can't believe these guys are out here. And once again, I don't know that any of it is.
It's a jealousy thing. They
Yeah, I
can't
don't
do
know.
it.
Yeah,
It
I don't know
definitely
if
could
it's
be, yeah.
jealousy. I don't know if it's just not really aware of what we're doing, or they don't know how we could help them because of like, hey, we're seeing fish here. Come get in line. Like I don't have any issue with people fishing when we fish because I'm not doing the same thing there. I'm shooting fish. In
I
the
could
face.
so see people getting super jealous of like them not catching fish. They're out there all day.
Oh, I can
and
see
then
that,
you're
yeah.
diving down there
100%.
getting them.
But that once again goes back to the same aspect of, is it harming the resource and is it really hurting their opportunity? Like, does my spearfishing actually prohibit in any form or fashion or hook and line angling to them?
I'm going to say no because, excuse me, there's so many different ways of catching walleye, from trolling to hand lining to whipping to long lining to just bottom bouncers, inline weights, trolling bandits, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
What is spearing? I throw spearing right in there with it. Like there's just another way of harvesting your fish.
Well, that and then it's like there's really not a whole lot of people doing it. So like, you really think it's going to affect anything?
So that would be my next question. Are you turning it down when there is a big group of people doing it? Then, like if there becomes thousands of people doing it, are you?
I wouldn't,
it down?
because I think it's just another method of taking fish.
And this is where reporting,
But that's me.
to me, comes in handy. Is like, hey, this is where we need to reach out to the DNR and be like, hey, I have no issue with saying we should prohibit spearfishing in areas where it's disproportionately affecting a group of anglers or an angling opportunity, right? I'm not saying we shouldn't have spearfishing, but if we have, like I said, in the St. Clair River, for example, if we have 10,000 anglers that have been doing what they've been doing for the last 10 years, and then we allow underwater spearfishing, and there's 100 anglers, spearfishing anglers, that go down there, and they're disproportionately affecting those 10,000 anglers, probably not a great place for that to exist. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
if
that's
you
so
can't
tough,
coexist with your co-anglers, because at the end of the day, to an extent, it's about license sales. And if we're disproportionately affecting the people who want to fish there, I have to agree that we shouldn't have them fish there. Go somewhere north. Go somewhere else. If you can't exist with the current opportunities that are there.
It's good you say that though. Like you're fair about it.
And like I said, if it's not good for the resource, I don't want it. And I just don't see where underwater spearfishing in the Great Lakes is disproportionately affecting the angular community at large. Because when you look at Michigan and all the waters that we have, but then you go across the pond, Wisconsin, South Dakota, North Dakota, Idaho, Utah, Nebraska, Arkansas, all these other inland states that have spearfishing opportunities for game fish, how can we say that we can't in some form or fashion mirror that?
Mm-hmm.
Because why are they shooting lake trout and smallmouth bass and walleye and crappie and bluegill and rock bass and perch in all these other states, and we have the Great Lakes?
Yeah,
and and Chief Claremont's going to say that we, our biologists have 50-some thousand acres more water per management unit compared to other biologists in other similar states.
That's going to be such a hard thing, though. I mean, if you think about it, if the sport gets too popular, then we're going to shut it down. If you think about that, though, I mean, in reality, you want more licenses to be sold, correct?
If it's not popular enough, they'll shut it down.
That's wild to me if you think about that.
It's backwards.
It's a
right?
double-edged sword.
You want people to get involved.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if too many people get involved, then we got to move spots where we fish at.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I don't disagree 100%. I'm just saying that it requires what? Regulation. It requires effort. It requires study and all those things. And that's what our department's for, essentially, right? I mean, that's what we pay our license fees for. It's for them to understand the effects and, the coexistence of different methods and can they coexist and how can we ultimately sustain our fishery with the different methods. And that's what we pay them for. And for them to not at least execute to the best of their ability on that is, it's a failure.
Oh, it's shameful.
Department.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Failure as a department. That's what their job is. And if they can't put a foot forward and say, hey, we're willing to put our best foot forward here to say that this community, whether it be small or big,
for our future wise,
deserves the opportunity to prove themselves.
With us being on the east side of the state here, like here on St. Clair, Detroit River, we're right next to Canada.
Yeah.
How is Canada with the spearfishing?
Canada considers spearfishing equipment as firearms.
Really?
Yeah. To my understanding, you cannot take a spear gun within 90 feet
really
of a body of water in Ontario.
So weird. I would almost feel like it would be like a bow, right?
I do believe they are permitted to do it for certain species like carp and a few others. But my general understanding is that if you're in Canada, more specifically Ontario, that your spear gun is considered a firearm, is not permitted within 30 meters of the shoreline of a body of water.
That's insane to me because
that's my understanding.
That's really crazy.
Please fact check me on that, but I'm pretty sure that is what I've been told by many Ontarians because I've had a lot of Ontario
residents
people reach out to me and be like, once again, the Detroit River, right? Or let's just say the Blue Water Bridge, right? Half of it's on the one side, and the other side I can spearfish walleye, and catfish and all that, and on the other side you're a felon.
But you could bowfish carp there, though.
Don't ask me. I don't know.
But I mean, I'm gonna assume so.
I would say so.
I don't know.
Canada's
it's kind of crazy,
funky, man. Canada's getting really funky.
They
lately.
are, but it's like,
but
they allow so many other things when it comes
the
like
natives
waterfowl
can do
or whatever.
basically anything they want.
Yeah.
That's a deep
The
rabbit hole
natives
right there.
They can gill net them, trap them. They don't give a damn.
Because I mean, you could even go like the duck hunting route, like where they're baiting, they're shooting at night. Yes, but that is a deep, dark rabbit hole that you're going to be diving into.
It's a nasty one. It is, but it does seem unfair. Where on one hand, I'm all for indigenous people's rights and everything, but it has to be manageable because you can't just say, hey, do things that weren't possible 200 years ago now without regulation is crazy. Right. To me, that's crazy. I'm like, no, you don't get to take a diesel boat out and drag gill nets. If you want to go out and net fish, dig out a canoe and do it. You don't get a diesel boat.
I almost feel like the smell around here, like there's none around anymore.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
But I think once again to say that to use, this is my personal preference. This is my personal statement, right? To say that under the umbrella of indigenous people's rights, to allow them to do things that they couldn't do 200 years ago when they were truly an indigenous peoples is crazy. Like that doesn't make any good sense to me.
It's almost how I feel about like Canada being this close, which I know it'd be so hard to like determine like the duck numbers wise. Like they're allowed to shoot 6 ducks over there.
Sure.
No matter the species. I'm pretty positive I'm right on that one.
Oh, yeah. No, you are.
But we can only shoot like 1 bluebill here, but they could shoot 6 of them over there if they wanted to, which I'm talking less than 10 miles to the east of us here.
Yeah.
The other side
we could be diver hunting and one's like 50 yards away from a Canadian hunter.
That's just pounding the blue.
And they're pounding bluebill. We can only shoot 1.
And that's Canadian versus American, or is that indigenous versus white?
Canadian versus American. Which is kind of why,
hold up. I would, once again, that might just be a boundary thing versus because I know Canada has a far higher production rate than U.S. does.
What?
If you're going to talk flyways,
and hunters too.
Well, yeah,
we have more hunters on this side.
Yeah, and they have a far higher production rate of ducks, don't they? Like a lot of the ducks, a lot of the
breeding
nesting
grounds,
the nesting
Yes.
habitat
Yes.
is all in Canada
Yes.
now because a lot of northern United States has kind of lost it, haven't they?
I feel like it's always been that way.
wanna
Besides
say
like the
so,
prairie
too.
potholes, like out that way, the Dakotas, in that kind of sense. But like just in this region per se,
I can see 100% though, like where you're talking like, hey, I'm sitting on this side of the river,
yes.
and then they're
Well,
sitting
it's
on
like
this side of the
literally,
river,
I mean,
and you're
Yeah.
like, wait, it's the same flock of birds.
Yeah,
Right.
literally.
Yeah.
It's kind of just bizarre.
Yeah, and it's the same thing. I can swim down there and can shoot that same school of fish. I can shoot with a spear gun, and the Canadians are like,
Wait a minute. Yeah. Where did he? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
what the
just
hell are they doing that I can?
very strange. What is what is like the craziest thing you've seen down there, man? You've probably had to seen some crazy things.
Well, yesterday I seen a kayak. That was jammed between some logs and the sand. We seen a main coated trolling motor. I found a Weber grill.
Oh.
Burgers on it, burning still, or no?
Nothing that good. Jesus Christ. He's in Petoskey, in Little North Bay there.
Nice.
Little Traverse Bay. Sorry.
God bless. I mean, what's crazy like fish wise? Like, I mean, you probably dove down, seen some like crazy muskies down there, sturgeon down there. I mean,
Not seen
no?
a sturgeon yet. I've seen
Really?
a muskie once. Fish wise, I haven't seen anything crazy fish wise. I've just seen numbers of fish. Like the video of the walleye today. I've seen schools of smallmouth bass I couldn't count. Big schools of rock bass and things like that. But as far as like,
just
the best way I could say is the craziest thing I've ever seen is I've seen 10 times the amount of fish in the Great Lakes that you would see in like a Bass Pro Shop or Cabela's aquarium.
I almost feel like
That's the best way I could say it.
It makes a lot of sense, but like, also like, you're going to certain spots where you're gonna target certain fish.
Yep.
Do you think if you were to go to a different location where you weren't targeting like a certain fish, you think you'd see something crazy like a fish wise?
That's the best part about spearfishing. You
just
never know
you
what
never
you're
know.
gonna
Yeah.
see. And like I'll tell some people, I'm like, man, I'm seeing 30-inch walleye in 5 feet of water. I'm seeing them up in skinny water. It'll be like mid-June, and they're like, everybody's out trolling 60 feet of water trying to catch big walleye. I'm like, guys, they're laying under rocks in 5 feet of water. I can stand up and see these fish.
that was kind of my next thing was like your perspective on how to fish. Like, we talked about it a little bit
Mind-blowing.
before.
It's so different.
You're almost like
I would
biologist.
almost never go fishing without having
that
some.
knowledge, though.
Well, no, without taking all my.
I'll look at
I
what's
would
down
I
there.
would never trust the general perception because it's like until you see it with your own eyes,
You don't believe it,
it doesn't make any sense.
right?
Like jumping, like I see why people jump into lines at like in the St. Clair River and the Detroit River.
Right.
Right? They're like, "Rah, you just do this and you jig, and there's thousands of fish down there. I don't know, if those are just the fish that are biting. You know what I mean? Like I've just seen so many fish in different spots that it's hard for me to say that that's the only way to catch them.
Oh,
And I think
yeah.
that one thing I can provide is that you can provide a different perspective because I can actually see how a fish reacts
You're on their
to
level,
a lure in their face.
right?
And this is one thing I've said, and call me what you want. I mean, if you're fishing with anything other than live bait, you're missing the ball.
Really?
I'll put a crayfish or a minnow in front of a fish, and they'll even watch me. They'll look at me. We were in Lake Geneva in Wisconsin. Okay?
That's wild to me.
We went to Walmart. We got the little fishing poles, the little
Like Barbie
telescoping-
poles and stuff, yeah.
telescoping ones. Got that. Put a 1/4 ounce jig head, and I'm not joking. We were swimming underneath these docks, and there were hundreds of walleye underneath these docks.
Wow.
Hundreds of walleye. You'd swim up to them. We'd get we were 6 feet of water at
Right.
docks, 6-7 feet of water. As long as they wouldn't see you, you could drop the little twister tail right in front of them. You drew
Nothing.
every time.
Oh, with the
Really?
live bait
Every
on it?
time. No live bait.
Oh,
No live bait. If they seen you, they wouldn't hit. They would just be like, nah, I don't know. Put live bait on.
No matter what.
So this is what we were doing. We were catching like 6-inch perch on like little, little crappie squids or whatever.
Yeah.
We'd jig out there, and all the perch would come around. We finally catch one, take that 1/4 ounce jig, put it right through the back, cast it out, 6-pound bass. Sit on the bottom. Bass would look at us, look at the fish, look at us, and he would
Hammer.
pick it up,
Really?
and he'd swim away. We'd chase him because they were in the docks. So we had 6-pound tests or whatever, so we had to get through the docks. And once they got out of the docks, you just start reeling. We chase around for like 20 minutes or whatever, and then we reel them in.
That is sweet.
Live bait, without a doubt.
That's crazy.
1,000 times work better because like it didn't matter if you were in the water or not. They would go for it because they knew it was real. A fish's perception of what real food is versus what not is 100%. They 100% know. It's whether they want to or not. There's something about that because
I feel like
you could jig a 3/8 ounce bass jig
right
with a crawl or the
just jig
the crawfish trailers on it.
Yep.
And they just went, no, as much as you wanted. You
Get
put
it
a
real.
perch on it, you put a crayfish on it, instant,
I feel like that's more
almost
like
instant.
the reaction
That's
bite
insane.
more than anything though. Like when you're
They
catching the
just knew
fish,
it was real. They just knew it was real, and they were like, "Am I willing to risk it?" And they were like,
Well, I'm saying like just
Yep,
like the
yeah,
plastics.
go for it.
The
Do
plastics.
you think it's
alone.
more visual or like a scent?
I think it's basic biology. They know what a real fish and they know what
Yeah.
real they know what real food looks
movements, whatever
like. They
it
know,
may be?
and I think it's 100% because the crayfish would be like,
Just yeah.
Yeah,
they just be
Back
doing
up.
it. Rip the claws. If you are fishing with live bait, rip your claws off.
Yeah, they'll mess up a bass. I feel like no.
They are scared of the claws.
Yeah,
Really?
I
They
feel
are scared of the claws. If you rip the claws, and I was in 9th Street Dam, Alpena, Thunder Bay River, I would grab full crayfish, throw them in the air. They'd be like doing some acrobats around them. I wouldn't touch them. They like maybe bite them and throw them away, but
wow.
they'd be doing that. Rip the claws off them, munch them every time.
Really?
Every time.
See, I just feel like the
Easy food though.
Easy food.
the plastics though alone is just more of the reaction bite. Like they
Yeah.
see the movement and they're just reacting to
Yeah, I
it instead
think-
of
Once again, a lot of these fish I think are in some kind of I don't want to say
like a trans. Yeah,
They are there.
Yeah.
They're just I'm just swimming in the river and they catch that movement. Oh,
Yes.
go for it.
Yes.
I do have to agree with that to an extent.
Or
Yeah.
And when it's a sensitive bite, live bait, 100% live bait, man.
That's interesting.
They go for it pretty quick. And like I said, that's all being
Well, I mean,
observed from being in the water.
You got a whole new respect, I guess, like in a sense for fish wise, right? Like you're seeing them in their natural habitat. You're eye level with them basically.
Most of the time.
There is probably 95% of the fishermen out there that can't say that.
Yeah.
They can say whatever they want from their like the radar or the sonars or the live imaging or
Yeah.
whatever they want. Like in the years past, this worked. Well, you're actually not seeing them. I think the color on certain depths, people don't even realize that. Like
Yeah,
jigs,
that's another thing though too. Like with sonars, how accurate do you think they are now? Now that you go down there,
When you say accurate, what do you mean by accurate?
like people are saying, "Oh, there's this fish, that fish." Is there more than that than what you're seeing?
well, they could be stacked on top of each
Well,
other
that's
and we'll look
true,
like one
but-
big fish.
I would say they're generally pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Especially the live
Yeah.
imaging. I
Well,
feel like the live
I would say so
imaging-
too, but you never know.
Well, it was most of the time I would say they're going out there for a specific fish, and I'm not gonna lie, hook and line anglers are very good at what they do. Like they know how to find fish, and they know the where to find the fish to look for.
Mhm.
And I think that's a generally, they're very good at it. Like I said, when I'm diving in the north part of the, mouth of St. Clair, those guys they're catching suckers. They're there to catch walleye,
Yeah.
know, and the fishermen find the fish.
Yeah.
How do you feel about there's like the big debate in the bass fishing world, right? About the live imaging. Do you have a certain like feeling on that? Like they're trying to get away from the live imaging for bass fishermen. I know it's kind of like not obviously spearfishing, but you kind of have a viewpoint on that, or have you even thought about that?
I think that the bass fishing community needs to get away from releasing
Bass
fish
fishing?
in the same spot. Because if you ask me, I think the bass fishing community. I don't care about live imaging. I don't care. Right? You
Right.
still have to make the fish bite. You still have to get in that by definition, right? If you've ever fished a farm pond, I think you've had the experience where you walk up to the edge and you scare the fish away.
Yes.
Right. So just like trout fishermen too, if you rush down the river too fast, you scare the trout away.
Yeah.
So you have to be secretive. You have to be sneaky about it, right? And you have to cast in there without them knowing.
Right.
They're far more susceptible to bite, and I think that's what live imaging is taking advantage of. That being said, if you have, let's just say, what's a normal participation for a bass fishing tournament? Like what, 20 boats, 30 boats, 50 boats?
I mean, you can say whatever you
50
want.
to 100 or whatever.
You
Yeah.
can say whatever, right? Let's just say we go on the Saginaw Bay, right? If you go on the Saginaw Bay, right, these boats, let's just say they all launch out of Linwood. These boats can now go around the thumb of Michigan.
Get
They
into
can
the bay.
fish, catch 5 fish, and
all the way
motor
back.
all the way back 60 miles twice a day. They just took the most effective predators in the lake. Wait them in one spot, and I'll release them in the same spot. Now tell me, how many times you got to do that over and over and over again until you're actually
Harming.
harming the resource? Now, okay, that's Saginaw Bay. Let's go to, I don't know,
I mean, you could really say it about any body of water. In
most
reality.
bodies of water.
Yes.
And small bodies of water are the worst.
Yes.
Small bodies, and I think that's especially like the river systems. I think that needs to be addressed because I don't think it's being. That's like having a catch and release coyote derby every weekend. Imagine you rodeo, in the bottom 6 counties. You rodeo the biggest 5 coyotes you can with the best 50 teams, and you release them all in Washtenaw County every weekend after. It's like a crater effect.
Yeah.
It has to be.
I mean, I don't know.
Like those
because-
fish just don't instantly swim 60 miles back to their.
No, but
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like they're all staying there. And how many times do you have to do that until all the forage is gone?
I will say I feel like it's almost like a turkey hunt, right? Like once the top dog is out of that little spot right there, the next in line kind of probably drifts into that spot, right?
Yeah, but
Like,
what if
very
that's
true.
But what if that's 16 different areas and you bring them all right back to here? Every time you're bringing them right back and you're releasing the same
it's probably less
65 fish in the same area, in the same river system.
Well, I don't think you're gonna be catching the same fish every single time. I think it'd be new fish generating through that area. Is what I'm
But you're
saying.
putting
But
them, like, that's
it's
what I'm
good
saying. At the boat
habitat, yeah.
launch, everybody throws their fish back at the boat launch.
the stress levels on those fish are probably gonna be through the roof.
60 miles an hour. Do,
Yeah.
do.
That is.
I just think there's a lot of unknowns, and I think there's a lot of, I don't want to say a lot of like lobbying, but there's a lot of just like, hey, this produces a lot of money for the fishing community.
Let's
and
do
it's
it.
generally good. It creates a lot of good media, and nobody really cares about the fish. That-
The one way you
Very
could
good
figure
point.
that out is if you were to tag those fish after those tournaments and stuff.
to see where they go.
Yeah.
Well, but
Stick
then
'em.
you're still not seeing the stress level of that fish itself.
No,
though.
true.
You could just
because it
use
could be the spawn that's all messed up
telemetry.
now, and
use telemetry and to figure out if that fish died or not.
yeah, no, for sure that.
But they would never want that because that would.
I wonder
prove-
why
Yeah,
they don't.
exactly.
I wonder why they don't utilize like tagging during those tournaments and stuff like that.
Well, he was just saying, like, I think it would open up a can of worms that they don't want to talk about.
That's true.
I mean, that's the moral of the story. What about? I know it's getting late. We'll be
No,
done
100%.
here.
Go ahead. I'm just people text me. No worries.
For jigging wise, I know a lot of people like run through shallow water real fast, and it just seems like the fish walleye wise just disperse like crazy.
Sure.
How much damage do people actually do to the walleye below, like on different depths wise? Like how deep do fish not really care? Have you seen anything like that? I know you're not around a lot of boats, but
When you say damage, you mean like
the bite
ripping 'em up?
wise. Yeah, I guess like just spreading them out wise. Like that boat's cruising through, those fish spread out because that boat just kind of stirred up the whole school.
I think fish very rarely care about boats traveling overhead. If that's what
Really?
you're asking,
Yeah.
you would be amazed about how many fish I will shoot in the highest boat traffic areas.
Really?
Wow.
Almost unbelievable.
Wow.
Like exactly what you just said. Some of the spots I jump in are in the highest boat traffic areas and very high volume, like shore fishing areas.
Yeah.
Loaded with fish. Loaded. Like big walleye, big bass, everything. And I was like, this seems like the highest pressure area you would think
Why
would
are they
push them
there?
out there. And boats travel overhead and they don't seem to care.
I almost feel like it's almost like we think of it more of like a deer hunt, right? Like you got a lot of pressure on the woods. The big mature
They're gonna
bucks aren't
move
going to be
out.
there, but
And
everything's
yet
just
they live
different,
in some people's backyard.
right?
That's, yeah.
Right?
So
like,
weird, man.
I'm not going to.
I think people just
It's
complicate
really cool
it way more.
like, to hear that, though, and whatnot.
I think just if any walleye fisherman is listening to this podcast, I think your biggest missed opportunity are weeds. Tall, long, stringy weeds in the Great Lakes hold walleye like you wouldn't believe.
I mean,
I
would
I'm
agree.
talking 30, 40 fish, 50, potentially 50 fish days. Like
I agree.
Walleye,
I mean, even in the shallowest waters.
walleye will hang out in 7, 8, 12 feet of water. If the weeds are coming up to here, they will find dirty little pockets of those weeds and they'll just sit in there all day.
And just wait.
I would literally, before we could spear them, I would take, same thing, small, I would take like a spool of line and put a jig on it and jig them up like that because they would eat it every time.
So I guess that kind of is a good point, though. What is the difference between spearing and sight fishing like that, but you're still jigging underwater?
As simple as the reaction bite.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you're underwater, visually seeing that fish and you're jigging them with like the little pole or whatever, compared to spearing them, I mean, isn't that kind of the same?
No, I would say no.
No?
100% no. I mean, once again,
Well, I guess you're
fish
shooting them,
biting-
obviously,
yeah,
but like
a
you're
fish
still
biting is totally different than spearing. them.
you're still seeing. Like I guess what I was trying to say, that was kind of stupid on my
More
part.
so of a visual.
The visual, you can kind of really play with that fish more
Yeah.
than
Sure.
like jigging and hopefully hoping that there's a fish there.
I would say being in the water is the biggest difference because there's two things, right? Just like the salmon in the rivers, you know how they floss them?
yeah.
You can floss walleye.
Oh, they do it all me
Yeah, exactly.
all the time.
Yeah, so I mean, when walleye are stationary and they're not moving,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say you can snag them in the mouth, but you can snag them in the bottom of the jaw. Like that's something you can do. Like I'm not saying it's ethical, but you can do it.
Do you agree with
it-
flossing?
To me,
Just another way of
salmon.
catching
What are salmon? Flossing for salmon or flossing for fish in general?
walleye.
I don't think it makes a difference.
Cap-
Whatever gets you off the water faster is probably the better thing, to be honest. Because when you start ripping up fish from 35, 45 feet of water in the middle of the summer, just like, we all had goldfish at some point or another.
Right.
Yeah.
You get them from the store. You have to have them in a bag.
Get
And what
the
do you
water
do?
ready and
You put them in the water so
Right.
that they can acclimate.
right.
Well, being in the water, that does give me one perspective. I can tell you that, hey, I'm diving in 55-degree water at one depth after 20 feet, and I come up to the surface at 65 degrees.
Right.
Well, if you catch a fish at one depth and he's fighting for his life, right? Because fish don't enjoy being caught.
Yeah. I didn't
Believe
think
it or
so.
not, they
Right.
don't. And you're ripping them up from 55 and bringing them up to 65. They don't have time to acclimate.
Yeah.
Then you rip them out of the water, throw them on the floor of your boat, and they're flopping around. They have the air bladder fully out of their mouth. You've already hit your limit, let's say, for example, right? The fish are biting like crazy, and you have a limit. You throw that fish back in the water,
He's probably dying.
more than likely going to die. And a lot of people don't really, really...
Prime example, the sturgeon or muskie dealing with
Oh,
A
yeah.
lot,
heavy.
a lot of fish. Yeah, you hold it more vertical than
Yeah.
horizontal. A lot of people kill fish like that, right? And that's what I compare to spearfishing. I'm not saying that spearfishing
more ethical.
is perfect, right? I'm just saying that I think when it comes right down to it, if I go out spearfishing, I kill 5 fish, I'm
You're
done.
done, right?
It's it. That's it.
No.
There's no more fish. I can't take fish, throw them in a live well, and then come back 3 hours later and say,
Right.
"Oh, I caught a 25-incher, and I'm going to throw back
Throw
that
this one
15
back.
and a
Yep.
quarter and that floater and just toss him back. And he might swim down, but he's not going to live. And I think that's where a lot of it comes down to. I think that's where the ratio of anglers.
I can see that for sure.
Yeah, is like I think that's where it really balances itself out, especially in Lake Erie, because I think Lake Erie is super susceptible to that because there's a lower layer of cold water and it's down there a ways, and they have a lot of walleye, and a lot of people in that midsummer time they'll go out to 40, 50, 60 feet of water and they're targeting them, beating them fish up, and they bring them up to that 72-degree water from 55, and those fish are fucked. Like think of it like this, right? You're running. Right? A fish is fighting for its life. It's running, right?
And they
call it
plunge right away.
They call it an oxygen debt, right?
Right.
Where it gets essentially gets asthma, and it can't. And you throw it back, and it can't catch its breath. And then after that, no, I'm pretty good. And it can't catch its breath, so it may go down. It may be down there for 6-8 hours, and eventually just never catches back up, and it dies. And that happens a lot with trout. That's why they have limits for water temperature out west now, where you can't catch trout above like certain temperatures in the water, because they found out those fish
Can't.
release fine for 4 to 6 hours and then they die. And they're like, hey, when the water temperature hits 68 degrees, you cannot fish for them anymore because
That's good,
they
though.
die.
That's good they figured that out, though. That, you know.
Yeah. Well, their trout fishing went from top tier and it just was diving. They're like, why is this happening?
So is that something that Michigan DNR should look more into, though? Because we talked about it a little bit beforehand, like that they're not. I mean, they do a lot out there. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But should they look into that more with like let's say the party fishing aspect of it all? Like if you go out there, like us three go out there, and I catch my 5 fish, I can't catch your guys' 5 fish, but I'm gonna keep fishing though,
Yep.
and I'm throwing those fish back, and probably all of them, not probably all of them, but let's say
yeah.
they all
There's a decent amount
that are gonna die from
Yep.
it.
Yeah.
So should DNR look more into that kind of stuff than
They
are?
account a lot of our limits with hook and mortality rates. So here's a fun fact, and you can look this up. I actually have it saved on my phone. 40% of lake trout in Lake Superior, Lake Michigan, and Lake Huron die as a result of hook and line or catch and release
wow.
when the surface temperature of the water exceeds 52 degrees.
That makes 100% sense, though.
Yep.
I mean,
They-
they're down pretty deep.
They're very deep, 200 feet or so,
Yeah.
or whatever it is, and they bring them up. That they don't have time to depressurize.
That shock almost.
And yeah, you went from 45, 50 degrees
Yep.
to 72.
Right.
They're dead, instantly dead.
Makes a lot
And
of
guess
sense.
what? The limit doesn't change, does it? And there's no catching immediate. They don't even regulate based on that. They just say have to be released. They don't say, hey, once you hit your limit, you have to stop. Like your 5 fish limit. Once you hit your limit, you have to stop. They don't even do that. They simply account for it.
Is there something that you wish Michigan DNR would do more of or look more into in the fishing aspect of it all?
Outside of like youth engagement and like and bringing youth into the sport, I think they do an all right job. I just wish they would do more outreach to communities
Get more
in
people
metropolitan
involved.
areas where the majority of their ultimate future license base lives.
So what
I
would
think
be
they need to do more outreach.
what would be your comeback statement if they went to where they're like, well, we need volunteers? What would be your kind of?
I would beg, borrow, steal, crawl, do whatever I got to do to get 10, 15 people to reach out to whatever it is, to build those docks, to build to get kids involved. I think that's the biggest thing too, is like anybody can say, hey, build a fishing dock and feed the fish, and you got to get the kids there though.
Yeah.
That's like the biggest thing,
yeah.
right? So it's like I would do whatever I had to do.
Do you think it's more of an excuse for some organizations that they go the route of, oh, we don't have volunteers, compared to them actually putting in the effort to reach volunteers?
If you say you don't have volunteers, you're not a good organization. That's what I would say. Like
I would
if
almost
you don't
kinda-
have the ability to get people involved, then your organization sucks.
I want to say sucks. I would just say you're not doing enough to get people
Borderline
involved.
sucks. Borderline sucks. Like
Well, I mean, you look at any group nowadays, it's hard to get anyone
a part of any group anymore.
Yeah, because I feel like there's just not enough people that actually care to give back to what they're taking from. I feel like
I think that might be a big thing.
I feel
with
like
social media,
you know what? At the end of the day, we're gonna feel like we lose our fishing rights.
Yeah, for
you know
sure.
what I mean?
Well,
Like
yeah.
we got it. Like, and that's where we have to be like, hey, I feel like I'm not working hard enough. I feel like I'm not doing enough to establish, the importance of fishing within this community or whatever it is, right? Like, if it means getting kids, from, I don't know, being around the wrong kids to like, making TikToks about catching bluegill and crappie, and making goofy, you know what? They don't have to treat the fish perfectly. If it's about getting kids involved in fishing and buying fishing gear, then that'll work. It doesn't have to be perfect. They don't have to eat them.
You know what I think sad about that though is I think it's gonna come to a point where it's too late when people actually finally notice. So
Well, I mean, that's why I'm here now. I mean, it's like, I hate to say it, but it's like I'm seeing it now. I'm like, hey,
Right.
before we know it, kids are gonna be virtually skateboarding and virtually
Yeah.
surfing before they care more about virtual success than they care about
be like
real
that.
life. Yeah.
what's that? Not it. Wally. When all these guys are just on a
Yep.
cruise ship and like just sitting in a chair the entire time, and yeah, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna.
That
be
being
bad.
said, if we create reasons to get outdoors, then you're creating at least
purpose.
you're creating a reason to get outdoors. You're creating, like I said, you're creating the future of fishing.
it starts with us though. Right now,
Yeah,
it's
and, like,
our generation.
And creating
We have
content
to
and
yes.
giving reasons for people to get outdoors and
100%.
do things that make the real world worth living in versus a virtual reality where, like I said, the virtual reality, your avatar, your character can, be jacked, 6 foot tall, just the way you want them, right? In reality, you have to work for those things, right?
Right.
And at least if we can provide something that's worth working for, that they can participate.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, I can go catch a 10-pound bass in, Bass Pro Shops, Madden, whatever the hell it is, whatever it is. And the whole point is like create that real
Get 'em
life
out there.
experience because it's like that's our future, guys. It's like we didn't have this growing up,
No.
so now we have to compete with it. And then the ultimate reality is that we have to create a worthwhile, livable experience that can compete
a
with
positive.
putting a virtual reality headset on your face. To an extent, I would,
We have to create that adrenaline
means
rush.
and that means
endorphins
us pulling those kids
Oh, yeah.
off of those
No, yeah.
computers and saying, "Hey, come on,
I
I want you guys," and that's us being good mentors.
100%.
The young, those. I mean, what the 85 to 95 to 2000 group of men and women saying, "Hey, we didn't grow up with this," and I tell you what, you guys are being disproportionately affected by a technology base that you didn't get to experience the real world where you had to be home when the street lights shone.
Oh yeah.
Like that was the only timer you had
That's
in real life.
it,
Yeah,
really, yeah.
like that was it. Like,
That's our generation.
Yeah, that's our generation.
But
And we
it
have to
died.
make-
It died with
and
our
we have
generation.
to make sure
so
that they have some form of relation to that.
100%.
And if that means giving them 10-inch bluegill in a pond that's farm fed or whatever, then that's what we got to do. But we have to do something because at the end of the day, like I said, it's all going to come from them, and they're the future. And if we're not investing in them now, we're not going to have anything. It's just like a 401k or a pension.
Right.
You have to put in. You have to get the people in the future to put in what you put in when you were just getting started.
I just feel like it's just like getting them there one, but then keeping them there two.
that's huge.
That's like the hard
It's
part. I
huge.
feel
But
like.
if you underwater spearfishing, it doesn't have to be about killing 100 walleye. It's about if it's killing one walleye buys a license, then that's worth it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you
and
100%.
I think, and just like who is it? It's like who's that guy from like Minnesota?
Jeff Goggins?
No. It was like there's like the D Almighty jigging with Jordan.
Oh yeah.
All those guys,
Yeah.
and they made basically a living
Off of YouTube
off of just
videos and
cleaning
stuff.
up crap in rivers.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're huge.
And I forget his name.
I mean, there's a ton of guys on there nowadays that are
Doing that.
yeah.
But what does that say? The future of fishing is amphibious. Get in the water, and there's nothing wrong with that. And like in Michigan, going right back to it, has the largest freshwater marine shipwreck sanctuary in North America, if not the world.
Yeah.
Have thousands of ships you can simply swim out and dive to.
Undiscovered.
Some of them are undiscovered. Most of them are discovered. But
Well,
yeah,
Superior, a lot of them are undiscovered, correct?
most of them
Yeah,
are discovered.
Oh, they are?
I don't know of this undiscovered ship yet.
Oh.
Wink, wink.
Where do you kind of see, like, future-wise, where do you want spearfishing? Where do you see spearfishing going? Like, what is, like, your, like, a goal of yours, even for, like, the organization that you run? Or, like, what is your plan?
Man, I would say last year I would have had like be equal to hook and line, generally speaking, and now it's more like just stay in the game. I would love to see a world where underwater spearfishing is open to like salmon and stuff like that in northern portions of Lake Michigan, Lake Huron, and Lake Superior as well. And I've floated the idea of the DNR that, you know, they create a very super limited season just like they do on Black, like, but in the St. Clair system for like sturgeon and muskie, like where they issue one license a year and they do it as like a raffle system for the whole country to bring in money, because they're all talking about starving money, but like, hey, what if we sacrifice one sturgeon, one muskie in the St. Clair system for underwater spearfishing?
$10 a draw, whatever.
$10 a draw. You open to the whole country. You bring in $100,000, and you sacrifice fish that were generally going to be lost anyways.
I say the same thing about sandhill cranes and swans here.
100%.
And I would love to see that. Right now, I think if we can keep what we have and maybe a tiny bit expand it, that would be fantastic. But the DNR, unfortunately, is considering walking back what they put out 3 years ago, and that's the fight right now. July 8th will be the last day of the working group meeting to try and change their mind and reconfigure that outlook. So I think right now, I mean, ideally, yeah, sure, it would be to just be able to go on the Great Lakes and do exactly what I can do as a licensed angler.
Right.
I don't think that would be... whether it's the same limits or the same species,
Just to be out there.
Yeah, but be able to, you know, whether it's shoot one salmon or 5 salmon, I don't think it makes that big of a difference. It's about opportunity. It's not being, you know, restricted to just shooting carp and bowfin in a, you know, a little dirty bay and, you know, in the thumb.
Mm-hmm.
What about like goals for yourself, like as a company per se? Like what? Like, do you have any goals on where you would want to be at?
100%. I want to become. So I actually raised enough money via a crowdfunding project to get my free dive instructor certification. I would like to build a free diving community here in the Great Lakes. I just think we
That'd
have
be awesome.
the best. We don't have the best. We have the prominent, like, freshwater area,
right,
to have a free diving community. You know, I understand that the season is very small, like it's a 3 or 4 month window at most, but we could have really cool
there's a lot of
diving
opportunities.
that
100%, yeah.
generally you would have to travel south for. And I really think if I could build that community, if I could get my instructor license and build that community, you know, from the ground up, I think that would be super cool. And then just generally speaking, just get people involved in going out and participating. It's crazy to think that getting somebody to swim around in the Great Lakes is the same as getting someone to walk through a forest. It's like they're right there. They're at the edge always. All you have to do is just throw on a mask, snorkel, and pair of fins, and you can just you can do it. And like I went snorkeling in Pictured Rocks last year.
That'd be awesome.
The absolute most life-altering experience I've ever had.
That's got to be insane.
Because you see the face of the rocks.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see what's underneath them. And that water has been eroding the rock underneath it. That's why they collapse.
Yeah.
That's why they collapse, because it's been eroding. you can literally swim hundreds of yards underneath those rock faces.
Really?
All the way around. Come out. You can
I gotta see that. I gotta see it now.
Big old caves like you wouldn't believe.
It's gotta be
It's
sweet.
so cool. And
Wow.
it's so, and the only thing you have to do is put on a massive snorkel and swim in the water.
That's what's so crazy to me about it all, too. It's like,
The only
That's all you
barrier is
need.
the water. The only
That's all
barrier
you
is the
need.
water.
but all you need is a guy with a
All these
snorkel.
people come by and stand up paddleboards and pontoons and kayaks. And
And
they
they
just
have
put
no
a
idea.
mask and snorkel. If they look down in the water, you could see a cave that goes right under Mosquito Bay, right into Rainbow Cave. You could see areas you've never seen before in your life. You could literally swim and you see rocks and Petoskey stones and all agate, all this, all under there. All you have to do is put
that's
on a
gotta
mask
be
and snorkel and swim underneath there.
That's-
It's so cool. And I never would have experienced if I never would have went free diving and spearfishing for the first time back in like 2019 or whatever it was.
Wow.
All just because I got in the water. Seen shipwrecks that were 250 years old. You know,
That's
I've
crazy,
literally
too.
dove on like living history. I'm like, yeah, 50 guys died on this wreck.
Oh, that's
You know, burst into flames. It sank right here in Thunder Bay.
That's pretty
And
incredible.
I've touched the timbers, and I've seen these 350-foot boats,
Oh,
all because I decided to get in the water.
That's
And it's
crazy.
like it's so unexplored, and in maritime laws is so different. It's like once you walk off the shore, you're like, I'm a free man.
I can only imagine. It can almost be life changing for you.
It literally is. It's like I was just a normal guy like 6 years ago, and now I'm talking to you guys on a podcast about spearfishing. And
Which
it's
should have
like,
been 2 years ago.
whatever it
Yeah,
was.
you're
Yeah,
supposed to-
right. But it's like I still do electrical work. Like
Yeah.
I'm no different, but it's like it's changed the course of my life so drastically that I never could have imagined it. Like when
Just
you
a
told me
visual.
the first time I ever did it, I'm like, John, this is gonna be the vein of your existence one day. I'm like, what?
That's crazy to think about that, man.
It really is. What do you think, like, you could do to get the youth into this?
Snorkel and fins.
Snort.
Target the swimmers.
Okay.
That would be my biggest point.
So do you start at the schools?
You start at probably I would say your best candidates are the low level senior swimmers. Low level senior swimmers like coming out of high school are by far the best free diver or spearfishing candidates I think you could possibly find.
Why
They're
is
not
that?
good enough to go to college, but they have the lung capacity
Yeah.
that would match any competitive free diver.
So now, how do you target them though? You
Well, they're lost.
okay.
They come out of high school. Either they're going to school on academic, or they're just going to school to get
Yeah.
a degree,
Yeah.
or they're going on a scholarship, right? Scholarship ones you can't get
Yeah.
generally because they're going on scholarship, right? The academic,
You got a
likely.
plan, kind of.
But if they're just going on normal, it's the low level senior swimmers that are coming out and they are lost. They don't know where to go, but they have a love for the water. They're comfortable. They swim great. They have great lung capacity. All you have to do is instead of saying, "Hey, swim across the pool,"
go down a little bit.
just take a 90-degree turn and start going down.
Yeah. So now, how would you approach those kids? Saying like, would you take
I would
them
approach
out
the
or?
coach. I'd
Okay.
approach the coach. No, all right, I'm not giving any business ideas away here, but this is
Oh,
what I'm going to be
you
doing
know.
next year. But yeah, I mean, I would essentially just start targeting near.
Like-minded people.
I'm going to generally, this is my plan anyways, to focus on the areas that are near good, what I would believe are diving
Fishing.
sites.
Okay.
And I'm going to say, hey, where are these schools? And then I'm going to essentially touch base with their coaches. I'm going to say, hey, coach, who's your best? Who's your worst? Where's your in between? And just kind of get a general feel for
Yeah.
them. Like, hey, who do you think's not going to have a future in swimming? And I'm going to say, hey, this is free diving. What do you think they'd be interested in this? And be like, actually, that might be a great avenue for them. Because it keeps them on a forward trajectory,
Right.
but just on a different sport.
Yeah.
And it kind of plays right into their ability, is their comfort in the water. Like, you can take, like I said, a low-level senior swimmer, and they can probably swim 75, 100 yards without taking a breath. lung capacity, untouched.
Do you do any like shows or seminars or anything?
Not yet. This is, like I said, I want to be associated with a program before I do any of that because
So you're in the works with something right now.
I'm very much in.
Can we touch on that or no?
Yeah, I mean, sure. Yeah, go ahead.
What you got? What you got going
I mean,
on?
I would like to be by 2026 a certified PADI freedive instructor.
And you wanna get those kids involved doing
And
that.
I would love, because I love being in the water, and
Yeah.
I'm an electrician, right? And
Does it go hand in hand?
And right now, I spend my time right now
Pulling wire, bending pipe.
in a hospital, in a closed building that's full of concrete. And I'll tell you what, if I could teach kids and human beings how to spearfish and how to dive and explore the Great Lakes and I'm not saying for a living, just not go broke. Not go broke. I would, if I could spend 4 months out of the year teaching people how to do that, I'd be okay. I'd be
More than okay.
yeah. I would be ecstatic about that.
That might be one thing too. I mean,
And I can create content while I'm doing it,
Yeah.
and then and kind of grow the business or whatever it is, right? And then grow the community. And before you know it, we have a legitimate, group of people that can responsibly enjoy the Great Lakes and really demonstrate what the underwater community can be in a region where it's really been underexploited for forever, essentially.
That's another avenue. Like the state should, like realistically, you should be able to get a grant for that from the state, because that's another avenue, like financially from the state that they can potentially make money off of.
You tell me, how do I apply for it? Right?
You know what I'm saying, though.
No, I don't. But I mean, I understand where you're coming from. Yeah.
I mean, that might be a good thing too, even like for like the festival wise, Point Mulet Waterfall Festival, just being there in getting your name out there wise, like to the youth wise. It's a free booth this year.
I think I have the content if I just put it on a 3060 TV and just loop my coolest videos.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people
to get people
like,
just signed up for something.
Wait a second.
I think you can get a lot of leeway with that. Not a lot of leeway, but a lot of traction with that.
It's September. I mean, if you are interested,
hey, we'll talk again.
I mean, that's it's almost one of those things you just got to start somewhere, right? I mean, and you got the outdoor crowd already coming in. I don't know. It might be a good opportunity.
Right there,
Once again, I have to.
There's steps beforehand.
I have to prep myself,
right?
So that I'm prepared to take on, those kind of people to make sure that I can do what they expect of me. I guess it's preparing myself so that I won't disappoint anybody.
You don't want to show them this, but I could do this.
And that is a real thing because I would hate to be the person that says, like, hey, let's go out and catch a bunch of walleye, and they catch two, and
that's fishing though, right?
No, I hate saying that.
Right,
Right,
spearing, right?
To the extent though, I agree with that because once I said fair chase, it comes right down to it. I can't swim down there and shoot fish for you. I can't have that experience for you. I can only show you what experience I've had. And that if you can match my skill, you can also have those experiences.
That's one of those things though where...
And I'm just a normal guy, right? I drink beer. I work in a trade. I'm nothing special. And you can be like me if you just try. If you just try.
One of those things that were like... you might take somebody down there, right? And they might shoot one fish all day.
Yep.
But that might be the best day they've ever had.
100%.
You know what I mean? So it's hard to say like two fish is like it's a bad day because that could
Last
be someone's...
weekend, I took out a guy named Austin, and he hit me up on Facebook or on Instagram, and he was like, "Hey," I put it on my story, and I was like, "Hey, I'm going out. If anyone wants to come," and I was like, "Hey, give me some gas money. We'll call it fair." I brought him out, and it was a horrific day. Honestly, he shot two fish.
He
said
loved it.
It was the most fun he's ever had in his life.
That's gotta make you feel so good too.
And I was like, dude, shut up. You don't even know what you're talking about. You haven't even seen what spearfishing. And it was those two fish and he missed some fish. I'll say that. He did miss some fish. He said that it was the most fun fishing he's ever had.
It's a whole different experience, man.
And that did, raise my ego, my little sense of pride a little bit. I was like, you know what? I remember when I was there, 5-6 years ago. But it's unreal when you have that first good experience. So you're like, man,
Right.
I can't believe I've been sitting on a boat this long. Like, I've been missing out.
It's hard though too, because like it's hard to stay positive because you yourself, you're like, man, this day sucks right now, man. But like that guy comes up out of the water and he's like, dude, this is the best day ever.
He's like, dude, I shot a walleye, and I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, well, you don't have 8 of them yet. That's the problem, you know, like, but and you know, and sometimes you drop down, and you see 100 of them,
right.
and it's like, will spearfishing ever destroy that? No, I don't see that, and I think that, and throwing people in the water and getting them to interact with those fish and getting. I mean, there's nothing better than when you can, I don't want to say manipulate, but when you can have a school of fish trust you.
Ooh.
Just getting in their own environment, like getting their comfort zone, I guess.
Yeah, when
right?
you're in that fish's comfort zone, it's like, to hell with catching
Right.
them. Like when you have a 24, 26-inch walleye, you know, swimming
Yeah,
through,
you kinda just watch them the
it's
whole
like
time. Yeah.
it's uncomparable. It's
There's got to
like,
be some times where like you almost forget to shoot just because
I
you're
was
like
just going to say that. Yeah, you're just in awe.
that's the best part. You
Right.
don't have to hurt, handle, or harm any
Right.
fish. You don't want to. That's the best
That's
part about
insane.
spearfishing. You can kill them, 100%. Don't have to if you don't want to. If you want to shoot 1 fish, you're more than welcome to. You can shoot 5 fish.
That's
You
awesome.
don't have to if you don't want to.
I think you got to come to some shows, man.
I'm telling you, man.
I think
like,
you go to some shows, and I think people are really going to see it, and they're going to be able to ask you questions face to face, and you'll be able to tell them, you know, actually how it is, and guide them the way they need to go to want to do this.
that's the real thing. Getting in the booth and in front of normal people that do this for a living or do it every day.
It's one thing, you know, watching on YouTube or on Instagram or whatever, but to see that person in, you know, face to face and ask them questions about that's a whole different thing, and then you get really intrigued by doing it.
Just as a perspective from you guys is like, when I say you don't have to harm a fish, does that go a long way? Like, does that make sense? Like,
No, yeah.
I feel like
obviously, if you're going spearfishing, your intent is to kill a fish, but obviously
It's
you don't
the whole
have
show.
to.
It's the whole show.
You don't have to if you don't
I
want
wouldn't
to.
say it's a whole show of shooting a fish, right? Like the whole show is
Seeing
getting
the whole
down
thing.
with them,
Yes.
Yeah.
but I also think it takes the right person to realize that, because you might get that one person that's like, dude, I came out here and I expect to catch my limit of fish because I'm diving down with these things, but those are the people that don't understand it yet. They're not there,
No.
and they don't.
Yeah, they're in the
respect-
beginning phase, right?
Yes.
They're just like kill fish.
Yes.
But
right?
once they
Yes.
realize it's the whole show, and that's when
it's
it,
not about killing the
It's
fish.
the
It's about
respect.
having the fish
Yes.
with you. It's like,
it's like anything in the outdoors, really. Like, you know, when we go turkey hunting, when you go deer hunting,
Yeah.
anything.
100%. Well, before it gets too,
that's
too
gonna be a
late,
good
man.
clip right there. That right there, that's it right there.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
like
telling you,
talking
man.
about
I'm
it's just
telling you.
experiencing nature for what it is by far the most rewarding thing you'll ever do, right?
1,000%.
It's all about starting. It's about the stages of growth, right? It's like
100.
kill a
The
fish.
stages are the key,
Yeah,
though.
yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
It really is.
We talk about that almost every
Yeah.
podcast, those stages.
Yep. Because I took Rusty out. Rusty's an older guy, and he was like, John, I don't understand how you're saying you're seeing all these fish. Because I went down, so like one drift is about 35 or 40 minutes. Like if you start at the highest point from there to the like Fort Gratiot Lighthouse, I killed 4 fish in 4 dives essentially. And I was like, this the hardest part is loading the gun and putting the fish on the thing. And he was like, John, I've dove 6 times in that same stretch and I didn't see a single fish. You're lying. He's like, how is that possible? And I was like, well, Rusty, next dive, next run, you're coming with me and I'm going to show you what to do. And I was like, you can see the bottom from the surface, like 30 feet of water. You can see the bottom. So you can see the fish. And I was like, when we see fish, right, or we see structure, we're going to dive in the structure. We're going to dive in the fish and we're going to grab onto something. We're going to hold on to the bottom.
Let them get acclimated around you.
And I was like, we're just going to lay there. I'm going to let the fish come to us. And he was like, John, I've tried that. It doesn't work. I was like, did you see fish? He was like, no, I just seen whatever. I just dove down and grabbed it.
Yeah.
Like, we dove down. He dove down right on top of me. We had 50 fish. Same kind of deal. All around us. He was like, John, I don't get it. He was
It was
like,
like breathtaking at that point, though.
I mean, when you hold your breath for a minute 30 or whatever it is.
Jesus, Pete.
like you get down, like it takes 15 seconds to get down. You hold down, you're like there. You're down for essentially 45 seconds, 55 seconds. It only takes a fish 10 seconds to want to get curious, right? And then you just don't move quickly. Don't do that. If you just generally look slowly, look left, right, look right, it'll come right in.
That's insane.
And it's like
breathtaking.
What's a better experience than that? To be 100% honest, like I said, at that point, it's not about killing fish. It's just about enjoying the experience. Like I said, I have videos on videos where I can show you guys like of just enjoying the actual physical experience of being in the water with the fish, where you don't have to harm them, but you're
there.
This satisfies
the show.
This satisfies an itch that I've had since childhood. Like when I was in the water, or I was like at the Cabela's Bass Pro Shop, right? Like right here. This is the perfect example.
What do we got?
Just watch. And I was down for 2 minutes and 11 seconds on this dive. This is the 1 minute that I was underwater.
You'll just send me this so we can clip it into the actual pot.
Yeah, we'll put it in the podcast.
That's a tank. Oh.
Both of them.
All of them. What do you mean both of them?
Oh my
All of them.
gosh. Yeah,
How do you even
guys,
shoot?
we'll put this on the podcast, but this is
Don't
absolutely
have to
awesome.
shoot them. You don't have to
That's
shoot
what I'm
them.
saying. How,
You're over there trying to touch them.
oh my God.
The best, and this is what brought me to go to the NFC.
Those are all, 7 to 10 pounders probably?
Oh, are you telling me you can tell the size of these fish without measuring them? They're all big fish, right? Like you don't have to say that that's not a 14.
Yes.
Like those are good
They're
fish.
massive.
Like those are good fish.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to. Yeah, you don't have.
They have
to,
shoulders on them.
Yeah, they're big, thick
Yes,
fish. Yeah,
yes.
you don't have. There's no question about those fish, right? Like so, you're telling me that you can legitimately look at a fish
On those ones, yes.
and be like, "That's a
100%.
legitimate keeper."
On those ones,
definitely
yes.
Those
can.
are legitimate keepers, and that's exactly the whole point. It's like, yes, you can look at fish and you can tell that they are legitimate, legal fish. If you don't know,
Don't shoot.
let them go. Like I said,
Just enjoy the moment.
That's a
a
great
15-inch fish is that big. Those
Right.
are 20-some inch fish. You know,
yeah.
like very, very confidently can harvest those fish, and not be concerned about breaking the law. And I think that's huge. And we were shooting. We in Saginaw Bay is 13 inches, right? We can shoot fish within an inch, realistically. Like we were like,
Dang.
that fish isn't 15, but it's also not 13. We were shooting these fish 14 and a quarter.
Wow.
Now that's not easy, but it is legal.
It takes time.
Yeah. But like the whole point is that it is doable. That being said, I don't think the person who's just slinging steel shafts out there
Right.
is going to be able to hit that fish.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you have to be, realistically, medium.
Point blank, right.
And I have a
Yeah.
40-inch spear gun. I'm putting it on its
Right,
nose,
right.
And
Yeah.
that's to say that we're going to disproportionately affect that population of fish. I just don't see it. I just can't see it. Now they can say that we'll disproportionately affect the larger generation of fish. Maybe. I don't know. But if there's 200 people doing it, and we're shooting less than 500 fish a year,
Yeah.
not that then put a limit on
It's
it.
not- yeah.
What is him? Put a limit on it. Well, I'll follow the limit, but
Yeah.
until you
Put those
until you do
regulations
that,
in,
like
yeah.
well, why are you regulating me so much harder than the
next guy?
the hardest, the population of anglers that's killing the most fish.
100%.
So until that, like I don't know, call me crazy,
We're all crazy. But
call
no,
me wild.
it's getting late, man.
It is getting late. Shit is late as fuck.
Yes. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming in and talking about this,
No,
man.
It's
Thanks
been
for
awesome.
years.
This is one of those, I don't know, just kind of one of those like out of pocket kind of things where I've been super interested on it, and I'm so glad that, like I said, you came in and I was able to learn on it and just.
Well, I have all the gear and I have a boat and everything. So if you guys want to come out, and
pay you gas.
and I'll drown you.
Yeah.
I'm
I
cool.
guess
with it.
right.
We got gas money.
100%.
Can I have like a straw all the way to the surface or no? a straw, not a
If
snorkel.
you can figure it out, go for it.
Okay, all right, sweet.
You do it, and I'll participate.
Sounds good.
Kyle will definitely figure that out.
Sounds good, man. Well, John, I appreciate it again. Keep up what you're doing, man. It's just even the videos that I've been seeing, man. It's insane, and you got a great thing going in reality.
And I hope you grow it.
I guess it's always nice to see somebody like something start from nothing in reality around the hometown, and someone having the passion behind it all to keep it going. It's always a refresher, I guess, to
Good.
see.
It's a refresher. And it's also like,
That you can
I'm
make a
going to
difference,
100%
right?
Yes.
back that too,
Yes. So, again, I appreciate it, man.
Gentlemen.
Chris, appreciate you being here, man.
Yes, sir.
And
Likewise, buddies.
everybody else tuning in, I hope you enjoyed this one. I know I did. And we'll see you
I'll
guys
see
on
you
the next
under the
one.
water.
Yeah. We'll see you guys.